Imagine a place so deep, so dark, so utterly hostile to human life that we know more about the surface of Mars than what lies within it. It has no name on most tourist maps. No photograph does it justice. For most of human history, we simply pretended it did not exist. But it does exist, and right now something is happening down there that could change the balance of power on this entire planet. This is the Mariana Trench, and this is the story of who is racing to control it. Picture the ocean surface, sunlit, familiar, alive. Now start going down. At 200 meters, the light begins to die and the warmth fades. Below this point, sunlight cannot reach, but life continues. At 1000 meters, the last trace of sunlight vanishes entirely. The creatures here have solved that problem in the most haunting way imaginable. They make their own light. Bioluminescent fish, ghostly squid, predators that glow in the void hunt, survive and thrive in conditions that would kill a human in seconds. Go deeper. At 4000 meters, you enter the abyssal zone. The ocean floor here is blanketed in centuries of sediment, the slow silent rain of dead plankton and dissolved minerals. Scientists call it marine snow, and it has been falling for millions of years. The seafloor down here looks like a barren desert, but underneath that silence lies something extraordinary. Keep going. At 6000 meters, the pressure is now 600 times greater than on the surface. Your lungs would collapse and your bones would crack, but even here life persists. Translucent shrimp and single-celled organisms the size of a thumb exist where they should not, and then you reach it. 11,000 meters, the Challenger Deep, the deepest point on the surface of our planet, a place so remote that only 2 people had ever touched its floor before 2020. In 1960s, Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh made the descent in a vessel called the Trieste, and they came back up alive. The world barely reacted. In 2012, filmmaker James Cameron piloted a custom-built submarine alone to the Challenger Deep and spent hours on the seafloor. He collected samples and filmed the void, yet the world moved on. But in 2020, something different happened when China sent a submersible called Fendoji to the Challenger Deep. They did not send it once, they sent it repeatedly with a crew of scientists, engineers, and some suspected strategists. This was not a moment of curiosity, this was a statement. Since then, China has not stopped, deploying fleets of autonomous underwater robots and mapping vast regions of the seafloor. They are building permanent infrastructure in the deep ocean and doing it faster than any other nation can keep up with. The question that keeps oceanographers and military analysts awake is simple. Why? Because the deep ocean is not just darkness and mystery, it is wealth. Scattered across abyssal plains are billions of potato-sized rocks called polymetallic nodules containing cobalt, manganese, and rare earth elements. These are the same materials that power electric cars and smartphones, and the demand for them will skyrocket over the next 50 years. Whoever controls the deepest reserves controls the future of technology itself. Then there is something even more staggering: methane hydrate that looks like ordinary ice but burns when set alight. Scientists call it burning ice, and it may represent the largest untapped energy reserve on Earth. Some estimates suggest the methane locked beneath the seafloor dwarfs all known oil and gas reserves combined. These are not science fiction concepts, they are geological realities sitting on the ocean floor waiting. And China is not waiting for permission to go get them. Resources are only part of the story. Running across the floor of every major ocean is a web of submarine cables over 1.3 million kilometers long. These cables carry 95% of all international internet traffic. Every financial transaction, every government communication, every piece of data that crosses an ocean travels through these cables. They are the nervous system of modern civilization, and they are almost completely unprotected. In 2025, China demonstrated a deep-sea robot capable of locating, inspecting, and potentially severing these cables at depths of over 1,000 meters. There is no confirmed evidence of deliberate sabotage, but the capability exists, and in geopolitics, capability is everything. Because whoever can threaten these cables holds a lever over the entire connected world. Meanwhile, the United States and its Western allies have steadily cut funding for deep-sea research. Budgets have shrunk, interest has faded, and China has used that silence to move further, faster, and deeper than anyone anticipated. The Mariana Trench was once humanity's greatest unanswered question, a void at the edge of our knowledge. It is becoming something else now, a battlefield, an archive of resources, a strategic corridor in a war that most people don't even know is being fought. The nations that invest today in understanding and controlling the deep ocean, they will hold extraordinary power tomorrow over energy, over communications, over the raw materials of the future. And the nations that look away, they will wake up one day to find that someone else already owns the darkness. 11,000 meters below the surface, the race has already begun. You just weren't told about it until now.